Hello, I'm Sudarshana Starshine Star. I'm so happy to have all of you here with me today on this beautiful Friday. It's a glorious Friday, July 19th, and it's still 2024. This is going to be part one of an audio clip. I will put out part two immediately following. It is all good news. Let me start with the three opening prayers like I like to do with all of my clips. They're short, they're in Sanskrit and Telugu, and this is to bless, protect, inspire, and uplift you, me, and this clip. Om, 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 Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmahi Sri Guruve Namaha. Om Suklam Bhartaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chatubhujam Prasanavaranam Dhyaye Sarva Vigno Prashante. Om Bhurbhuva Suvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, I forgot to mention those were the three prayers I just said, or three mantras I just said, were the Guru mantra, the Ganesha mantra, and the Gayatri mantra. I have a fantastic part one and part two audio clips putting out today. The subject matter ostensibly is about the Crowdstrike cyber outage today that happened, that affected the world. Yes, this is a worldly, when I say global, I have to say that for those that know, I should probably say worldwide instead of global. So let me try to remember to say worldwide. This is a worldwide event. Yes, it is. Just like I've been sharing for so many years, and also on other social media platforms that you guys that are listening to this on my TikTok, which is called Mahakali Yeshua 9, and the username there is Starshine Star 909, or on my YouTube channel, which is called It's the Dazzling of the Light, or you can just go to YouTube and type in at Sudarshana Starshine Star to access these audios and all the clips there, which are, I think it's about 100 now. It's pretty good. You should check it out. But anyway, for years I've been sharing. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I haven't been for a while. And on other social media platforms, I shared really huge over and over again, daily, in and out, daily, at night, in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon. I was constantly sharing so many proofs, showing so many photographs, sharing so many videos, showing so many documentaries, recommending so many books to read, showing so many analog filmed, not digitally filmed, deathbed confessions of people that have been involved in really nefarious programs and other things, showing whistleblower testimonies across the board to anything you can think of in our world. Anyway, showing that over and over and over again, along with, of course, what's important. And I can't go into it here because it's going to be too long, but for people that discounted what Q is, I don't know anyone in the world who wouldn't know what Q, that have heard of Q and Anons. And like I've said before, there's no such thing as Q Anons. Q is a small group of highest military intelligence. That is, it involves a junior, and it also involves Donald Trump as the CIC, but and they're known as Q and Q plus. The first Q drop started in October 2017, and it was on an internet channel called 4chan, and then later it was called 8chan. And I don't know when the infiltration by the corrupt and now unalived original General Michael Flynn and his Pegasus, cyber, nightmare, hideous satanicness began with the infiltration of the Q drops, where it was changed then to internet platforms called 4kun, Kun, and 8kun, Kun. But there wasn't infiltration of those Q drops because the original Q drops were a little over 5,000. And what they were, for people that still don't know, like I said, Q is also the highest military clearance in the United States. It's called Q clearance. And Q also stands for quantum computer, a huge quantum computer system that games out potentials and perspectives of what would happen if this goes down, what would happen if this goes down. And along with the fact that people that don't know, I can't explain on this clip, but I will on other clips, or I have said something if you watch my other clips that I have on YouTube. The white hats have used looking glass technology, just like the black hats had used for so long, and then the white hats took it from the black hats. So the black hats for several years now haven't had access to the looking glass technology, which is an off-planet technology. And the technology that the black hats, the evils, you can call them the satanic dark cult, the cabal, the Illuminati, the Khazaria mafia, and in parentheses, little things, offshoots coming off of that are completely satanic, like the Jesuits or the Zionists, or communists, which the basis of all communism is Satanism. Yes, Marx and Lenin were Satanists, and it's a lot, and I can't really go into it on this clip too much. My focus is going to be on Crowdstrike and what that outage really means, the good news that it's bringing. But why I'm saying this is that this is part of the earth-wide cleanup of the evils and their minions that have been, like I said, held sway over humanity for thousands of years. It's nothing new what you see going on. The corruption went so deep, and it has been being cleaned out. And I think I need to start on this because this is going to go too long. I want to start on what I want to share with you guys about Crowdstrike. But this is amazing, and this is a huge win, victory sign up to the heavens for we the people of this earth, not just for my country, America, for we the people of the earth. And it's just bad news for the evils and their minions. Most of the top evils have already been taken out and have been handled. This is more for some of the lower levels, and which is quite extensive, that have been part of the earthwide infiltration of all the systems and institutions and governments and schooling and universities and everything, big business and corporations and all that kind of stuff. So on this subject, I was scouring today looking at things. And of course, I love Ariel on X, the former Twitter. His handle is, he's a blue check mark, and his handle is @Proletario1. And while I don't say that he knows everything, because who does, he knows enough. And when I check it against other things that I see and what I know and put it together, I really like generally what he puts out there. Now I'm going to make a few little comments on some of the things I'm reading from him that he's saying today, because he still has not acknowledged openly, although you can go right on and look on my TikTok recently and look on my YouTube, that I put out the truth about the July 13th, 2024, it seemed like the attempted unaliving of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and what that really was. And I'm not going to go into that here, whatever, but it was, it was a white hat operation. There was no, which I thought at first, because I didn't know when I first looked at it, right when it happened, I thought that little Thomas, Matthew Crooks was a poor little MK Ultra 20-year-old dude whose parents were said to both be in quote unquote they were behavioral counselors in the academic world. Hello, it's like time. And he had also done it was said, and I don't know now how much of the play this was, but it was 2 years ago, Thomas Matthew Crooks was filmed doing an advert for BlackRock. And, BlackRock, whew. So it just seemed to lead so perfectly into yet another, MK Ultra poor guy who's always singled out as the lone GUN MAN. And then seemed to be this huge thing that the Secret Service and everyone was in on it, on this attempted unaliving of President Trump. But you need to know the truth about that. So I'm not going to say any more about that, but why I brought it up is that Ariel, he references a few times, and he's not acknowledging that it was not actually President Trump at the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. It was one of his doubles, and that there was not by anyone else a real unaliving attempt. It was a flip on the deep state script that they have unalived so many good people and done so many terrible things, and the way that they always do it is so formulaic. And this was like a holding up a mirror and flipping a script back to them, doing like kind of a play, so to speak. It was you can say it was an FU to the deep state little rats that are still running around, that are now getting picked up. And there were messages and calms in that, like about the shoe, when President Trump's double was talking about, give me my shoes, give me my shoes. And there were a lot of calms. And I've gone over that in the other clips. So now let me get to this about CrowdStrike. Okay, so from Ariel on X. First of all, let me refer to, this was from Raw Alerts today, which is at Raw Alerts on X. Hashtag breaking. Cybersecurity experts say this is set to be the biggest IT outage in history, as CrowdStrike shares plunged 20% in pre-market trading in New York. But CrowdStrike CEO stated that the outage was not caused by a cyber attack. Okay, and then this is from Ariel. I posted this earlier today. People, listen to me. If you do not think today is massive on a historical scale, me inform you about CrowdStrike. The servers are located in Ukraine. Can you say election interference? This is the deep state cybersecurity company. People, this is a national security threat. What did D. Trump receive officially yesterday? Now, I want you to think about those in the Democratic Party specifically, even though both sides of the political aisle are compromised. Let's just say we are being partisan for, he says, SHITS's and giggles. Who helped set up the biolabs in Ukraine before they even became president? Barack Obama. And then I interrupt here and I say what Barack Obama's real name was Barry Soetoro, not Barack Obama. He is a complete Manchurian candidate since childhood, completely raised in MK Ultra to be, in the very satanic order of the controllers to affect their world dominance, one world government, satanic one religion, and, get everyone off the planet except for 500 million, go from 7.8 billion to 500 million who would just be their transhuman, chipped, part human, organic, part robot slaves, sterile, to quote Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, the WEF, you will have nothing and be happy, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, back to Ariel. Who was found to be money laundering out of Ukraine? Joe Biden. Now, let me also interject here. Ariel is referring to the actual, true Joseph Robinette Biden, who was a senator and a vice president. He never made it to the presidency, as I've stated in my other clips, which you can watch again, just briefly saying, I call the clone, who was the one who took over after Joseph Robinette Biden was picked up in November of 2020, then a clone, because the deep state, whether you believe it or not, the evils have incredible technology, and they've been cloning since the 1930s. It's not just Dolly the sheep that was famous on the cover of Time magazine for being cloned. They have been cloning, and there are many different types of clones, from organic, which is really simple to understand. If you took any kind of science class, you'd be like, oh yeah, I get it, that's a clone, to mixtures of robotic and organic human material mixed together. There's different types of clones. But anyway, a clone of Joe Biden was put out, and then the white hats of the military global alliance picked that clone up in December of 2020. And yes, I know it's so crazy, but all the deep state players, they have their clones, and when the clones start appearing and showing up and popping up in office, when the originals have already been picked up and handled and taken to Gitmo or other places and given military tribunals, and invariably receive guilty verdicts for crimes against humanity and treason, which are capital crimes. And then the deep state puts up these clones, and then the white hats have to pick up the clones, and then the clones are processed as well. But after that clone was picked up of that I call JoJo, and the inauguration was not real. There was no Joseph Robinette Biden there. That was actually a film. The deep state did not know what to do when their clone was picked up, and they had an inauguration coming up. And you have to really dig deeper and look into all these things that, like I said, I can't go into it so much here, but I don't like to give out correct information or allusions to incorrect things. You just have to go look when was all that concertina wire put around Washington, D.C. before the January 2021 inauguration, supposedly. Why was the concertina wire facing inward, like to trap anyone who's in that area we call D.C., District of Columbia? It's foreign land on U.S. soil. It's no part of the U.S. And why was the White Hats had filmed with full of Easter eggs, quote unquote. Easter eggs are what are called when you show little signs of what's really going on and people have to pick it up. So they gave plenty of clues in that film of the inauguration that was shown to be the real inauguration. On that day, which you can look up on January 20th, 2021 in Washington, D.C., it was a very gray, very overcast day. But somehow the inauguration was very sunny. It had real Los Angeles, California sunshine because it was filmed at the White House facsimile in Culver City in Los Angeles, California. The White Hats had done a film, and if you look at it, because very few people were paying attention and watched the whole thing, you'll see such Easter eggs, such clues as Hillary Clinton shrinking like 3 feet, then growing 3 feet. You'll see Jill Biden's coat changing complete colors and style. You'll see the huge satanic Bible that was shown that the supposed Joseph Biden had his hand on as he was being sworn in instead of a Bible. You'll see people that are a woman, and then other people that are directly in the shot as supposedly Joseph Biden is being sworn in as president with Joe Biden. And right between them, you'll see a woman appear and disappear. They did lots of things like that to show you that something was going on. Lady Gaga, and that wasn't really Lady Gaga. That man whose name is Stefan Gerblecki, a Baphomet, a biological male who's in the satanic cults, was raised up in that, was raised to be in the music industry, to do their satanic things, to hurt the people and put out all their nonsense, and was involved in crimes against humanity with children. I'm not going to say more. So that wasn't really Lady Gaga, the performer. But if you notice, the character of Lady Gaga was shown with all these, like Mockingbird from that, those movies, the Hunger Games, wearing all that jewelry and all of that stuff. It was all showing you what was really going on, but people had to have eyes to see. On the top of the most important thing on that day, if you talk to a military person, the military code is very strict. Military operations are by the book. Military procedures are by the book, especially the inauguration of a U.S. president. You've never seen an inauguration of a U.S. president like the one that happened supposedly for Joe Biden in 2021. You'll see the differences. Just see what happens when he goes to swear in or put his hands on the wreath, and it's all different. But the most important thing is that the military gives a presidential inaugural salute of a certain number of cannon fire, and he did not receive that. He received a much shorter, the funeral cannon fire for funeral for a foreign dignitary, because he was on foreign soil. District of Columbia is foreign territory that usurped the United States of America. It's not part of the real United States. Anyway, so that's something about that. But I just call what's called Joseph Biden, I just call JoJo. It was clones for a while, and it was, allowed to be black hat controlled, but very swiftly the White Hats took over that, and they put in actors like doubles. And they also have face masks, like Hollywood face masks with voice box technology. But more recently, and so often for, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, it's been a lot of CGI, green screening, which was shown when you see Joseph Biden supposedly at press conferences and he's putting his hand through the microphones. Like, you're like, that's impossible. It's CGI. Anyway, let me get back to Ariel's post. So Ariel says, who was found to be money laundering out of Ukraine? Joe Biden. Who was found to be funneling money? And that's the real Joe Biden was doing that, by the way. Who was found to be funneling money to Zelensky through the FTX and the trading firm Alameda Research Platform and donating to the Democratic Party? Sam Bankman-Fried. Who were the people in Congress who were caught money laundering out of Ukraine? Kevin McCarthy, Steve Cohen, Diana Harshberger, John Axney, Dwight Evans, Fred Upton, etc. And there are many more, of course, that were named last year. But this is about Crowdstrike. Do you now know that the bulk data collected on this outage is going to be given directly to Donald Trump? People, this reaches the highest level of government. People, ask yourselves, why is all of this coming out hours after Donald Trump took his nomination at the RNC? Did he tell you on July 10th that the final battle takes place in 7 days? Right? Now look at all the events that have transpired since you went to sleep. This is all connected to the NSA. This is all connected to the CIA. This is all connected to the FBI. Now you can understand the magnitude of what happened with the, and he says, ASSASSIN, ATION. I can't say the word that begins with ass and ends with shun, that word. I don't want it to pick up on the algorithms. Anyway, attempt, much clearer. And then I already told you what really happened in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, 2024 with that, so I'm not going to say it again. Back to Ariel. Once Donald Trump became the nominee, he would no longer wait to strike, as what he is now doing is officially public knowledge and can bring everything happening behind the scenes into the forefront for public discourse. And then I'm going to go to there was a let's see, gosh, excuse me, I'm mixing up my notes here. There was a comment on Ariel's X account that said, if you think that the that begins with ass and ends with shum, the attempt on Trump. Wait, I'm saying that wrong. So if you think about the supposed attempt on President Trump on July 13th, then all of a sudden Biden, Jojo, gets quote unquote COVID, right? And is thinking about stepping down by Sunday. And now global outages are all going on. If you think this is coincidental, please wake up. That's what that person was commenting on X, and I concur. Then another person commented called Tommy Tam at Tommy Tam 666 on X to Ariel. He's saying your position that Trump was running the show all along doesn't jibe with, oh, now he's getting security briefings, so now we can do something. And Ariel responds, no, we are talking about, quote, on the record, end quote. We cannot conflate the two of what we have been discussing behind the scenes, because that does not move the needle like it does when it becomes public knowledge. I told you all we, quote, in the know, end quote, are not who this operation is based on. Things do not get moving until the public is now informed. Now it's become actionable. Now it becomes a public initiation. I do not care how long you have been reading about all the super secret things going on. It's not official until the public becomes aware. I gave you all examples of this. And then there's an interesting note about Crowdstrike from Peace Love Woodstock on a blue check account on X at Peace LUVWOODSTK. It's this person says Crowdstrike chief security officer dumped almost 1.5 million of their stock, and 4 days ago at finance.yahoo.com it stated insider sale. Chief security officer Sean Henry sells 4,000 shares of Crowdstrike Holdings Inc. And then there's a little note. Sean Henry is ex-FBI. And I looked at a note from the official FBI website. It was from their press release. The FBI released their official press office release on September 15th, 2010, from their national press, and it's stating Sean Henry named Executive Assistant Director of the Criminal Cyber Response and Services Branch. And who was Sean Henry hired by? FBI Director Robert Mueller. Okay. And then a little note, a comment on this from also on X from Stephanie Starr at Stephanie STAAR, a blue checkmark account. She's saying ATMs - banks are down in certain areas. Airports are down and hospital systems are down. We may be experiencing a blackout this weekend. Okay. Now, back to Ariel, is saying 19 hours ago he put this out. He said, Donald Trump sent this message out below on July 10th. He said this for a reason, people. He didn't say November 5th. He didn't say January 21st. The final battle starts today. We have to pay attention to Donald Trump. Listen to this speech. Clues, subliminal, hints, innuendos, nuggets, signs. Today he receives official security briefing. So he will be putting away things in order tonight. You have to understand how important today is. The gloves come off. This is why there are scramblings with Joe Biden, whom I call Jojo. Today, Ariel says, why there are scramblings with Joe Biden today. Now he said, Ariel saying, I told you all to pay attention to the Donald Trump speech at the RNC. Now you are finding out today in great detail why. See how everything is coming together? Crowdstrike has an established significant presence globally, and by that provides advanced cloud deliver protection, in quotes, protection, yeah, right, for endpoints, cloud workloads, identity, and data. Guess what? Crowdstrike was hired by the Democratic National Committee, the DNC, to, quote, investigate, end quote, a breach that turned out to be a Russian hack aimed at disrupting the 2016 U.S. election. People, do you see where this is going? They are connected to various critical systems worldwide, primarily through their Falcon platform, which monitors and so-called protects against cyber threats in real time. The company tracks down over 230 adversaries and has reported a substantial increase in cloud intrusions and identity-based attacks, emphasizing their widespread integration in global cybersecurity effort. And we know, it's going to come out in this post, but for what I read before, that's just a wink, wink. We know Russia had nothing to do with the election interference. We know who that was really about. So anyway, back to Ariel. Do you now see how important today's events are? You're about to see a lot of panic like you have never seen. People, you all do not think this company has direct connections to the voting machine software? Now, back to all the corrupt people in the DNC. Can you now see why they may be in mass panic as to the implications of the world finding out how they are connected to the most critical systems that control most countries? And we go to some snapshots, some screenshots of, like I mentioned, some Q drops. Here's a Q drop from which was dated July 19th, 2020, at 1:12:15 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, from Q, and it says exclamation point HS1 JQ1 3JV6, and that's the identification marker on the internet drop. It points to foxnews.com about Mark Meadows, previewing school reopening plans, Durham probe, results, expect indictments. And then it says Q. And then here's another post underneath that. The identifying marker is 10009877. And Q says, Mark Meadows on Spygate, in quotes. It's all starting to unravel. And then there's a 4-year delta. Delta means in military terminology, like if something happened 3 years ago, and then you see the marker for it today, you call that a 3-year delta. That's what that means. So here's a 4-year delta. On the Q drop, it has the date July 19th, all in blood red, in a blood red box. It has the date July 19th, 2020, so it's a 4-year delta, since today is July 19th, 2024. And the quote that Q put there is, "It's time for people to go to jail." Now, in another Q drop, which was drop number 3764 on December 28th, 2019. It was posted at 1:23, then 27 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Q, exclamation point, HS1JQ13JV6. ID is 261500. The number is 7643842. I'm giving that information so you can look it up for yourself, okay? It says DNC server, and then server, then an S in Killbox, so DNC servers. In red, there's the word Crowdstrike, all again in a blood red box Q put there. And Q says, did Russia break into DNC servers? Why did FBI accept, quote, indirect evidence regarding DNC servers? Quote unquote, hack, break in by Crowdstrike. Again, the word Crowdstrike is in a blood red box. And then in parentheses, Ukraine with question mark. Why didn't FBI directly investigate DNC server? Again, in parentheses after that, there's an S to make it servers. And then in the kill box, which are brackets, it says in hand with a question mark. Download speed, internal data, DL versus remote. And then in a kill box brackets, it says 1. Article. Q is pointing to this article, www.realclearpolitics.com. Assange to Hannity. Our source was not the Russian government. And then in kill box in brackets 1, Q's asking, how does one provide content to WL? Comp to comp, person to person in kill box number 1. Personal comms. Now, comms mean communications, like military communications. Personal comms, in the kill box, the word secured is there. Prior to release, then in brackets 1 again. Now, what I'm saying, I wish you could see it, but whatever Q puts in the kill box, that means that you need to investigate that further. It's just the way of communication. And the way Q has always communicated is by kind of, the Socratic method, asking pertinent questions, giving little nuggets of information, but it was all about wanting Americans and the world to learn how to do critical thinking again, instead of being so brainwashed, dumbed down in MK Ultra that we just regurgitate everything that has been crammed into our brains by a very faulty educational and corrupt satanic system that we don't even know what's going on. So this is to help us spark up our critical thinking again. Anyway, so then the rest of this Q post says, and in parentheses, source says, feeder, parentheses 1, recipient, parentheses 1, interning for the DNC can be deadly. And then it says, does, with the word Crowdstrike all in a blood red box again, does Crowdstrike possess government capability to trace, quote, break-in, end quote, roots? Does, and once again the word Crowdstrike all in a blood red box, does Crowdstrike possess government capability regarding foreign intercepts? Possible to layer, / insert code, and then in the kill box, the word Crowdstrike, again in a blood red box. To designate intruder, kill box, brackets, intended target with a question mark. Then continuing on, it says, Q is saying, NSA data bridge, DNC. And then it says Crowdstrike, again in a blood red box. In the brackets, in the kill box, it says bulk data collection. And then it says matters of national security, then kill box bracket, highest levels, and kill box bracket. FISA, FISA, is only the beginning. The hole is deep, Q. So So I know that was hard to read with the reading a cue drop over there on with an audio, but I have some more to say, but I'm going to put it on the audio number 2, and it's going into even more positive news and such great news for we the people of this earth. I'll be putting that out again. So this is the end of this one. Thank you for being here with me. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help me to grow these channels since I'm really shadow banned across all social media. And I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm going to close with the closing prayer. What I'm saying in Sanskrit and Telugu is God bless all beings in all worlds. Om, 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 Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta, Sukhino Bhavantu, Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yes, peace, peace, peace. I'm sending you huge love and hugs to you and yours. God bless you and yours. I'll see you when I see you. And bye-bye for now.